Morning folks, I'm going to use a large brush and see how far I can go with it. I just found this was the end of a block of cheap, I think, Canson paper, I'm not sure. It's about 120, 130 pounds weight. It's been lying behind me for ages. I've got more of it, or a couple of sheets more. I was asked about what watercolour paper or what papers are used for this. Well, you can use any paper. Thinner the paper, the more easier or more prone it is to buckling. But you don't need to prime paper, not with acrylic, because the acrylic is the primer. Now, I'm going to raise my seat a bit, because I'm just going to push that down a little bit. So colours, we've just got colours: red, blue, cerulean blue, bit of Payne's grey, viridian, cadmium, yellow ochre. Basic palette really, but I use this vet gel here for an extender. I've got, where's my little dish? I've got a dish here. It's blue, but it's to start off with, but when you put it on your paper, it goes colourless. Just stuff that vets use to lubricate their arms when they're going to do certain things to certain animals. Right. Okay, so I've got to put that to one side. I can dip my brushes in there. You can always be inspired by other artists. If you just going around to friends' houses, you see you can pick up ideas. I do prefer abstract designs with acrylic. I'm not a great lover of acrylic, as you know, but I've got lots of it, so I should really use it and do some occasion. I did 2 yesterday. I did a sort of a take on Cézanne's mountain, but I want to do something sort of that's a bit bold. It's I think 1.5 inches perhaps, but I haven't got 1.5 inches. Well, I might have somewhere, but I can't find it. But I do like a sort of a slabby approach. That brush is a bit too flimsy, a bit soft. But anyway, I'm going to start. I'm just going to put some colour on. And with acrylic, you know, you can always change it because it dries very quickly. That's why I use the gel. And we want to, let's have a bit of a light blue sky and see where we go from there. These paints have been in this palette, stay wet palette overnight. And it's lovely how lovely and moist it stays. This is a Masterson stay wet palette. I bought one when somebody was demonstrating it with my old art group. They're not that expensive, and you buy the membrane separately for them. I just phone up and pay online, well, pay over the phone, because it's I have a British office. I think they're developed or made in America, but they are very, very good. Now, make sure you keep your brushes moist, because nothing worse than forgetting to put it in water, and then when you finally discover it, it's solid. Picks up a bit of ochre in there. A touch of yellow in there. It's really finding a way that you like to develop as a style. the style comes with practice. Right, I'll keep going with that. I do like a lot of abstract painting these days, and it's always a case of whether you like it or whether you don't. Not what does it mean, meaningless, as a lot of people seem to think. It's what you want it to mean. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Simple as that. So with the representational for painting, which I'm very well versed in, I tried this sort of painting several times. I never seem to stay with it. I always find it a bit unfamiliar. But anyway, put that in there in the water, and got a inch brush. I don't know what make. This is a good make. It's better than the Pro Art ones. The Pro Art one is well, it's quite different. I've had to bang some pins in because the handle only just fits in the ferrule, about not a centimetre, probably up to there. The bristles are fine, they're lovely, but when you've got to start repairing the brush after a couple of uses, it's a bit off. They're not that cheap. Okay, now let's try. I'm going to put a bit of foreground in, bit of yellow, bit of. Whoops! No, I don't want to put that grey. I want the viridian. Just get some paint on there, bit of landscape in there. This is an abstract landscape, well, hopefully. Just have some fun with the paint. The red mixes beautifully with the alizarin. Oh, not alizarin, I mean the viridian. Haven't got any alizarin on this palette. This red's jellified, so I'll have to change it. So this. I'll just scrape that off and get rid of it. And the video will have some fresh, I think. Viridian. I don't use a lot of viridian in watercolour or oil, but occasionally I have a use for it. Where's my viridian? What have we got here? Vermilion. That's a nice colour. Let's use that instead. There we are. Blob. That's a Winsor & Newton. All my paints are a mixture of various brands. I've got Studio Acrylic, they're good. These are 200ml tubes for £2 each, very cheap, from Wilkinson's, a well-known store in the UK. Bit of Payne's Grey, I do like a bit of Payne's Grey. I've got some orange. I don't really use a lot of orange. This is a Reeves orange, so if you don't use it, don't use it. If you don't use it often enough to use, then don't bother, because once you start throwing extra colours to your familiar palette, things start to go wrong. I'll just give that a bit of a wipe. It's overcast at the moment, but it's going to be quite warm later. See, I left that too long to dry. Look. You can use water just to dilute the paint. I didn't like that. But the immediate problem is, or approach is to get the paint all over. Oh, something's happening there. You'll just make it more colourful. There's some darkening. I'll just re-clip this. Can't do that with oil. Can all over your fingers. Now, a nice warm foreground. But we're just having fun with the paint. I'm not sort of thinking of anything in particular other than creating a pretty picture. It's a bit of rough ground. I like rough ground. The problem is I've had is that you get used to doing a certain way, but eventually you get quite bored with it. I think the criteria is, would you put it on your wall? I do admire those painters that can paint abstractly and let go of any ideas they have of what is good painting and what isn't. Just go for it. Bit of yellow, sort of a bit of white in that. Okay, we're making some progress. I think I like those squares, these sort of Cezanne-ish squares. We could sort of put a building in here. Let's just clean that brush. Bear in mind, when you put your brush in water, the ferrule, this thing here, fills with water, and then you dry your brush and then you do that and the water drips out. So make sure your water's out. Bit of orange for our roof. Need a bit of a finer brush for that roof, I think. Okay, well that's a bit of a abstract building. Get some bit of green in there. I was sort of racing this, so I've got to go out at about 10:30. Right, I'm going to just brighten that sky up a little bit. Right. So I mean, you can just change very, very quickly the whole feel of the painting. Right, let's reinstate these greens. Are you bored yet? Right, let's go dark green in there now. Bit of Payne's grey. Right, well let's overweight find out, put in a amount, and I'll just that's the great thing about acrylic. It does dry quickly, and once you start building up an impasto on the surface of the painting, you can drag over it, and you get all the other colours showing through. Right, so here we go. I need to lower that. Well, that's joyful, isn't it? That's I won't move it over. Let's just brighten it up a little bit. So we've got a lovely deep mauve here that counter changes with the yellow. Counter changes as a contrast from the yellow. Well, it's an attempt. It's interesting. It's wet. It's got a cottage in it. And it's got these trees here. I really do like using those strokes. I don't know. I've got to do more of these. Well, I hope you like it, folks. It's not bad for half an hour. Anyway, have fun with your own acrylics, and leave your comments. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.